Good afternoon. I want to thank API and RealClear Politics for this fire drill, I think is what they call it. I think my job is to upset Dan Weiss because we've done these sorts of things before, and so that's how I'll start. I'm Dan Kish with the Institute for Energy Research. We're a free market, pro-energy, pro-American think tank that studies energy intensively and tries to take a look at things and say things that sometimes aren't said in Washington, which makes it a little bit more fun than some previous roles. I've already goofed it up. The basic story here is that we hear a lot about hydraulic fracturing right now and the revolution that's taking place, and what's really taking place is a revolution in horizontal drilling. And as the chart you saw showed, the real change in what's happened is that. The reason for that is what we're looking at is a huge change in the energy story in the United States and what we've been told for 40 years, which is that we're running out of energy. And the fact is we're running into energy because everywhere we're allowed to look, we find it, it's changing it, and the story is being told in the newspapers and on the media and the like. So we've sort of got to adjust our thinking because it's been guiding it. Even places like the Atlantic, you wouldn't think about it, talks now about us never running out of oil conceptually. So sort of a sea change, and opportunities abound for job creation, for economic development and progress, and economic growth, which is what this economy needs. Some people are opposed to that. There's a functional, across-the-board opposition to expanding energy consumption because energy consumption drives a sort of economic growth that some people, frankly, are afraid of. Whether it's Yoko Ono wailing and caterwauling against fracking because of her weekend place, or other celebrities getting arrested, the story is the same. There's an opposition to this. But despite that, the record is over 1 million times and over 60 years, we've never had any damage in the U.S. Because of hydraulic fracturing to groundwater. So the issue with energy abundance and the way in which we move forward and whether or not we're going to kill this golden goose is basically up to this town because the real action's happening outside. One of the ways you could do it is federalizing hydraulic fracturing regulations. Both DOI as well as about a dozen other agencies are looking at that. And last week they announced they'll be taking the state's rights to regulate water for that away from them on public lands. With the offshore program in 2008, Congress, in a bipartisan way, lifted the ban on offshore drilling. That's now back in place until 2017. The result of federal policies versus what's happening on private and state lands is pretty remarkable. The historic highs in terms of increases on oil and gas on non-federal lands, and an actual decrease in federal government production. Restricting LNG exports, which is expanding, restricting the trade as well, would have a significant impact. The approval last week was heartening, but there's no road forward on that. And obviously, the truth is, if we are not drilling for natural gas because its price has gotten so low because of an overabundance, they'll simply switch to drilling for oil. That's what's happened now. 80% of the rigs are targeting oil instead of natural gas. Taxation policy, obviously, which happens in this town, and some of the proposals threaten this because obviously that's money that can't be reinvested in the job creation right here at home. Just one of those, the American Jobs Act provision dealing with Section 199 has about $30 billion of impact in terms of tax increases, but would affect over $300 billion in reductions. The key is that affordable energy matters to people. It's the foundation of our growth. As Carl said, Aristotle mentioned it, energia. It's the capacity to do work. We need it to do work. It expands our way of life. It expands and pushes us forward, and we need more of it, not less.